Welcome back, everybody, for another segment. It's going to be a movie segment today for Just Visiting with Jonathan and Eric. I'm Eric. That's Jonathan over there. And so today we're going to talk about our thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder. That's coming up. It's coming up next week, I believe. Actually, it might have been after. I think it's July 6th is when it's coming out. So I may have been wrong, but it's coming up pretty quick. And
I gotta ask you real
yeah.
quick. What's your level of care for this movie? Like, how much do you actually care about this movie? Like, 1 out of 10. 10 being like, oh man, I'm gonna be there as soon as the theater doors open, banging down, like, let me in. I want to see this movie. One being like, dude, I could watch this movie on Disney Plus if I really thought about it.
I'm like a 4.
A 4. Okay, that's fair. I'm like a 6.
You're like a 6, man.
Yeah.
I'm way lower than you. I'm like a 4. I'm gonna go see it. Am I gonna see it opening night? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not, if I'm being honest. Like, I just don't. I want to like this movie. Okay, let's go ahead and start. So, Thor: Love and Thunder. This is what we know about it so far. We know that Natalie Portman's coming back is going to be Lady Thor, or Jane Foster Thor from
Do you
the
know
comics.
if it's going to be like a different universe or like a multiverse Thor?
So
or
we
is it
don't
gonna
we
be...
I haven't watched all the trailers, so some people may be like, it's in the trailer. Guys, we only watch teaser trailers on this. Like, we watch teaser and then the first trailer, and that's it.
Yeah, if we really like the movie, we'll watch the first trailer. But we really don't.
So I mean, I don't know. We don't really know. My assumption is that it's the same Jane because she has Thor's hammer that was broken. Like, it shows that it's been broken, which it was broken in Thor Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
So,
I did see that. Okay.
yeah, so I think it's the same Thor. It could be a multiverse though. They could throw it in there and then it's just like multiverse. It's actually a multiverse thing. Which would kind of make sense to the overall narrative, but Marvel hasn't been doing good writing lately, so I don't see that happening. The other thing too is that Thor says something about how long it's been since he saw her, and I guess she got blipped is what the implication is. Because she says, "Oh, it's only been this many years," and he's like, "It's been like 10, like, since I've seen you." So it's been like a long time for him, but her, it's only been like 5 years, I think, something like that. So we'll see. She's in it. We know Valkyrie is in it as King Valkyrie. Sorry, you saw
I think
my
you mean
face.
Queen Valkyrie.
Queen Valkyrie.
Yeah,
They're
Queen
calling
Valkyrie.
her King Valkyrie. I don't.
Oh, okay.
That's her title. They will call her King Valkyrie, Jonathan, and you'll like it.
Okay.
Then also,
No matter what grammar says, you'll
hey,
like it.
I'm Korg's back. I love Korg. Hey, Korg. Hey, guys. He's like, don't need to be afraid of me unless you're made of scissors. Made out of rocks. I love Korg. Korg is the best addition to Thor since Thor Ragnarok. That's my hot take. I love Korg. He's hilarious. Guardians of the Galaxy will be in it. We don't know for how long. I'm guessing probably not very long. So
Was it be like the first part of the movie, maybe, and then come back at the end?
maybe I think they'll probably be in it for just the beginning of the movie. Is all. Maybe like the first. I think probably the most I'll give them is 30 minutes. The least I'll give them is probably like 15. So somewhere in there, probably. Enough to matter, right? Because they're in the trailer. So I don't think it's going to be like a, hi, see, we're dropping the Thor off and that's it, bye. But I think there'll be a little bit more. They might be throughout the story. That would be cool if it was just kind of like they come in and out. Because you would think Thor would have a way to contact them. But anyways, so they're in the movie, and then we know that they are going to be, we don't know the whole plot, but we know that Thor is going on a journey of self-discovery, and he will eventually again I'm so tired of this story.
Gods really don't know who they are.
They don't
on that journey of self-discovery.
Well, Valkyrie stole who he was supposed to be because he gave it to her, so, which didn't make any sense. Did not make any sense. I was kind of like, you know her for one. You had one thing with her and you already want to give over your kingship. Like, I don't think that's, I would think of it in the first Thor movies, they were trying to kind of build him realizing that he can be a king. That's kind of like what happened. And then they just decided to like scrap that in the third one. But we know that he'll eventually face Gore the God Butcher, which is Christian Bale. Uh, my expectation for this movie is pretty low. I don't think it's going to be that good. I think for people who have been with the MCU for a long time, I think they're probably not going to like this movie that much. I think it's going to make a lot of money. I do agree that it'll hit the $1 billion mark.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
But I think objectively it's going to be a bad movie. I think what's happening right now is because of social media and TikTok, that's really pushed the MCU lately. And so you have a lot of people jumping on these movies who are like, oh, this movie's great. This movie's good. And it's like, well, if you watch the last few years, like the first 3 phases were great. And then phase 4, like the writing just hasn't, I would say people who have been on the MCU train for a longer time, they don't really seem to like it. The new phase. That's what I'm noticing is people who have watched the MCU from Iron Man and like grew with it, they haven't really enjoyed phase 4. And I don't think
you meant the Incredible Hulk.
No, Iron Man. Iron Man was the first one.
Oh, okay.
Incredible Hulk came out
or Spider-Man. Wait, no, you meant Spider-Man. That's what you meant.
Stop. With Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
it's all connected. I know. I think you mean X-Men.
I don't know. Is that the same Professor X? That's my question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
he looked shriveled. He looked shriveled, and he looked a lot weaker.
Oh, that was so weird. He's like pointing his finger. He's so old, man. So I've noticed that phase 4, it just for most people who have been watching the MCU for a while, if you look on the internet, you look at their takes, they don't seem to be enjoying it that much. And it kind of ranges from a mild, like, it's been pretty good, to like, I hate the MCU phase 4. Like, I have not seen anybody who's just been like, oh my gosh, I've been watching the MCU since forever. And like, I love this, like phase 4 is just amazing. Like I haven't seen anybody who's like that. I have some friends who jumped on around phase 2, phase 3, and that's when they really started liking it. And they kind of like the new stuff, but I haven't met anybody who's watched from like Iron Man. So my whole point is, I don't think it's actually going to be that great of a movie. I think it's going to be about the same as all these other movies have been. I think it's going to have some social political statements in it. That's probably not really a big surprise. Go ahead.
Sorry. Where are you putting it? You think it's going to be worse than Doctor Strange? Better than Doctor Strange? Think it's going to be worse than Eternals? Better than Eternals?
I think it'll be more entertaining than Doctor Strange. As far as this is where I'll compare it to the other Thor movies. I think it's going to be maybe not money wise, but I think notoriety wise, it's going to be for me, I think it's going to be above Thor 2, like just above Thor 2. I think the original.
Do you have them 1, 2, 3? In that order?
No, I think I have 1, 3, 2, and then I'll have this one, probably right above 2.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm being honest, like Thor Ragnarok was a better movie than Thor 2. It just was. I didn't necessarily like it, but it was I guess in terms of how I like it, I guess if I'm being biased, it would probably be 1, 2, 3, and then the last one.
I know. That's probably
how I would rank it. But if I'm being objective, I think the third Thor movie is a better movie than the second one. It just is by the way that it's written. But anyways, so my expectations for this, I think Christian Bale as Gore is just kind of like to get people in, kind of like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he'll be in the movie, but I think he's going to have a smaller part than I think he'll be in it for 30 minutes roughly. It's not going to be like this is a villain we're growing with throughout the whole movie. I think the movie's only like an hour and 45 minutes. It's pretty short. That's the thing I was worried about. With everything in it, the runtime is really bad. But anyways, Jonathan, I haven't given all my thoughts yet, but you go ahead and give yours. I'm kind of all over the place. So.
Oh, I don't really have much thoughts for this movie. This is a very Morbius situation to me.
Snap.
I'm honestly not excited for this movie at all. Like, I don't really care. I know
Why?
It's 6, but it's just, I don't feel any attachment to the character like Thor. I don't feel any attachment to him. I've never been like a huge fan of his character in the first place. Even like going back to comics Thor, I didn't really care for Thor. I thought Thor 3 was fun. I thought it was fun, but that's only because the other two were kind of very very serious. So 3 was fun, but I wasn't. I don't know. Thor to me is just not. I've always liked Thor better with a group than I have liked him by himself, trying to establish his own universe. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
so
he's kind of like the fantasy guy of the whole thing. So are you a big fantasy person?
No, not at all.
So I think that could be one reason why, but I understand that. I mean, you also didn't like Thor 1 and 2, like you just didn't like his movies. So that's
I will say I liked. If I was to rank it, I would do 3, 1, 2. I did like 1. I thought 1 was still good. I don't care for the character as much as everyone else seems to.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, in Thor, Loki made that movie.
Yeah.
Loki was more interesting than Thor was. I liked the gimmicks that Thor had, like his kind of funny humor and things like that. I love the Warriors 3. The Warriors 3 was the best thing about that franchise, and they just killed all of them in Ragnarok, and I hated that so much.
They couldn't figure out what to do with them. They were trying to figure out what to do with them, and they were talking about a latest Sith movie, then they talked about the miniseries, and then they was just like, let's just kill them. I don't know what to do with them. They're not working.
Yeah, which I think that's a big injustice because I think they had a lot of potential. I thought the Warriors 3 could have been like, if you're talking about Thor, you need to talk about them. Like I thought Thor 1 handled them the best. They were kind of like Thor's sidekicks, if you will. Like Thor 1, the story was mainly about him, but like they had scenes where they went and fought with him on Jotunheim, then they went on Midgard and fought with him and tried to find him. So they need to be written in as part of the plot. And the second one, they just weren't there. They were like non-existent. And then the third one, they were just like, there's no point. So I don't think any director has really done them justice except for the first one. But so how much money do you think this movie is going to do? You think it's going to be like $1 billion, or do you think it's
no way? I will be very shocked if it hits $1 billion, just because the last couple movies haven't been doing so well, and I don't think Thor is as big of a draw as like as Captain America or Iron Man or even Spider-Man. I just don't think he's that big of a draw.
I think Taika Waititi has really elevated the character for a lot of people, so I think that he's brought more to the Thor franchise that people like. I thought the people who handled him the best were the Russo brothers in Infinity War. Like for me, I thought Thor in Infinity War was perfect Thor. Like he wasn't overly funny, but he still kind of had that kind of like lack of self-awareness, which is part of Thor. Like that should always be a part of Thor, because
he's a god. Like he's not a human.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's perfect. They handled that really well. And I agree with you. He's better as a set piece. He's better in other movies. And so I see a lot in this movie. I see a lot of Ragnarok, which I didn't like. So I see a lot of Thor being jokey and like goofy, and like I don't like Thor that way. Like I just don't. That's why I didn't like Fat Thor in Endgame. Like I didn't like Fat Thor because he was played up as a joke, right? So I don't like him as a joke. I've never liked him as a joke. So my expectations are pretty low for this movie. I'm going to see it in theaters, obviously for the show, but I don't think I'm going to see it opening night. I may see it opening weekend just cause it's out. But I don't know, man. Like Doctor Strange was a big surprise for people because I think the studio thought it was going to. They said from the beginning, before we even released, like this movie will hit $1 billion, and it still hasn't hit it. And I think they're kind of milking it. I'm surprised it's still in theaters, and it's about to be on Disney Plus.
It is on Disney Plus.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Wow. So like they've been milking it to try to get that billion, and they're just not there. And so Ragnarok did like 800 million, I think. But that movie did really well compared to the other Thor movies. And so I could see this one being $1 billion. That wouldn't be too hard. But I think it's going to be, I don't like to use this word, but it's going to be a normie movie is what it's going to be. Like people are going to be like, oh, Jane Foster's Thor. Like that's so cool. And then they're going to be like, oh, I love Thor in this movie. He's like so funny. And then Gore, he's so like dark. He's so dark, and they're gonna ruin that character. I
It's gonna be a bunch
guarantee
of Batman jokes.
they're gonna kill him. Like I'm sure Christian Bale is not gonna be in multiple Marvel movies.
Marvel movies.
Like
Yeah, I
I
agree.
guarantee,
I agree.
I guarantee you. So he's gonna die. I think they're gonna have a lesbian relationship in the movie as well, because they're trying to be not predictable. So I watched an interview with Taika Waititi talking about it, and he was like, "It's called Thor: Love and Thunder," but he's like, the love is not what you would expect it to be. And then he talked about how he got influence from one movie where a man is the man is carrying like a woman at the end. And I was like, okay, it's going to be some sort of like backwards thing. Either Thor is going to be carried by another woman, by Jane, or
Oh
Jane's
man,
going to get with Valkyrie.
you're gonna hate that.
It's just not the character, right? Like it's not. That's the problem. Is it's not the character. Thor is supposed to be overly masculine, bombastic, doesn't have very much self-awareness, like he was in Avengers. That's Thor. Thor, and I think what Taika Waititi has added some good things. He's made him a little more human, um, which you can argue whether that's good for the character in the comics or not. But
Yeah.
He made him a little more relatable to people, which is I think that's good for a movie. But he made him too funny and too stupid. He made him very slapstick. He essentially tried to make him like a character that Chris Hemsworth would like to play. That's what he made him into. So he made him into Chris Hemsworth, who likes slapstick comedy, who enjoys doing comedy, and so that's what they did. So
Yeah.
I'm not.
I was a little mad that they lost all the Shakespearean, the Shakespearean-ness that was brought to the first movie.
Yeah, that was kind of the whole take on him, was that he was supposed to be some sort of, kind of Shakespearean actor or Shakespearean take where they're talking in doths and these and having that old English. There was a lot more drama in that one, in the first one, especially with Anthony Hopkins. And I hate to I loved Anthony Hopkins in each Thor movie that he was in. He had such a great presence as Odin. I thought he played a great Odin. And I hate that they just are ruining his character by having Valkyrie as the king. I was like, you're going from Odin, Anthony Hopkins to Tessa Thompson. Like that's such a isn't that such a downgrade if you think about it? Like that's such a downgrade, man. I hate that so much when I think about it. So I think, I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people, if you guys like what's going on in the MCU currently, you'll probably like this movie. That's all I got to say. I'm not looking forward to it because they've just changed a lot of the characters so much in Phase 4. Like they've changed Falcon, they've changed the Winter Soldier, they've changed they changed Doctor Strange a little bit. They've changed all these characters for the for the worse, I think.
You know what I just thought about? Thor is like the last of the OGs.
He is, and there's talk of whether he's going to be in another movie or not, or whether he's going to hand off his his Thorness to
his mantle. It's a mantle. It's a mantle.
It's not a man. It's his name. It's not a mantle. It's his name. You're not Thor. You can possess the power of Thor, but you're not Thor.
She Thor. That's what. Look at my name. She Thor. Or sure. We have not decided yet.
Sure. All right, Jonathan. Well, let me ask you this: do you think this is Chris Hemsworth's last outing as Thor? Do you think he's done?
No. I think they'll bring him back for another one. Maybe like an Avengers. Maybe in a more like a side piece role.
Do you think he takes? Do you think he takes a back seat?
I'm not sure the real space for this movie. I would really be surprised if they left the movie with Jane Foster as the new Thor. I just think that would be going a little bit too far. But hey, they don't seem to be afraid to, kill our favorite characters. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what though. This won't be better than Miss Marvel. I'll tell you for sure. Miss Marvel is crushing right now.
It's gonna be better?
No, it's not gonna be better than Miss Marvel, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Miss Marvel is a chef's kiss.
Is it?
I mean that unironically. I actually really like Miss Marvel.
I'll have to watch it, man. I haven't. How many episodes are out? 3?
Just 3. Yeah, just 3.
Well, I'm glad you like. That's good for you. So, that's good for you, man. I haven't watched Miss Marvel yet. That's why we haven't covered it on the show. When the whole season's out, we'll watch it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll make a video about it. So
Just real quick, everyone who hates Miss Marvel, just calm down, okay? First of all, calm down. Separate Miss Marvel from the grander scheme of Marvel and Disney, and
Mhm.
and objectively, it's actually a funny show. It's actually well put together. It seems like they know what they're doing. They know who their target demographic is, and they're aiming really well. Doesn't have a
Mhm.
bunch of SJW stuff that I thought it would have. It actually has a lot less than that. But
Do you think that do you think it's not doing as well as they're claiming it's doing though?
probably.
Yeah,
I think, but I think that's largely due to people having a preconceived notion about the show before they even watched it. I
that's
think
probably
a lot
fair.
of people was like, "This is not for me." Like you kind of like what you were saying. This is just
Mhm.
not for me. They didn't make this for me, and I don't like the character. I don't like the actress. I don't like the powers. I don't like
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
context or whatever.
Yeah, that's probably true. Marvel should probably, I think an honest take is Marvel should probably just say this show's not for everyone. You know what I mean? Like you might not,
Mhm.
and they kind of did by giving it a lower rating, like a kids rating, but they should just be like, I mean, they're not gonna say it's not for everybody, but that would save them some face if they did that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I think there's lots of people who hate on it, not just for SJW stuff. They just don't like her character,
Yeah.
which is fair. But
Well, this is
anyways,
my thing though. She's a high schooler. Like I don't know if you're expecting her to be a brave, selfless hero when she's just in high school. And
mhm,
if you think about most high schoolers are super selfish.
mhm,
They just became teenagers and they think they run the world, they know everything, and so they're pompous, arrogant, they're just looking out for themselves. It's
mhm,
the ones who become beyond that, like, and actually take a step into like maturity that are actually make the great heroes like Peter
mhm,
Parker.
mhm. Yeah. Well, when the show's completely out, I will watch it. Probably because I'll be able to get through it pretty quick. I don't really want to. It's not a show that I want to wait for each week. So that's the thing. So, but besides that, last take on Thor for both of us. I think money wise, it's probably going to do quite well, but I think objectively, it's going to be not a very good movie. I think there's too much
Another
going on.
stinker.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another bad movie for Marvel. Critically, and they'll probably brag about their Rotten Tomato score. I'm not going off that. You kind of have to be in my personal opinion, to really understand nowadays whether Disney is putting a good movie out or not. You really have to have a deeper knowledge of what goes on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
to understand to really understand whether it's going to be good. But I don't think I'm going to like it. So, um, I think it's probably going to be one of the worst Thor movies. So, and I think Chris Hemsworth is going to take a back seat after this movie. I don't think he's going to be gone. I think they'll probably bring him back occasionally, but I think he's taking a break. I think he's definitely taking a break. They're not going to kill him off or anything, but they might kind of leave it ambiguous at the end. Anyways, what do you think? Last couple things about it.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a medium movie. I don't think it's gonna be worse than the Eternals. I don't think it's. I think it might be a little
Yeah,
bit. It might be significantly, like just a little bit better than, not significantly. It might be a little bit better than the Doctor Strange movie. Hopefully they learn from Doctor Strange that benching the named hero of the movie is not a good idea.
yeah,
So hopefully we get more
mhm.
Thor in this movie than we get Jane Foster's Thor.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's just a side addition to the movie, and not like this movie is about her.
Yeah, the movie is like at 1 hour and 59 minutes. So it's an hour. It's probably going to be an hour and 45 minutes is roughly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
An hour, the movie as a whole. So we'll see. I'm wondering, with everything that's in the movie, I'm a little scared that's not enough time to fit
Yeah.
everything in.
And also,
That's really my only concern from a writing perspective.
yeah, just last thing, Natalie Portman, she's always talked about how she wanted a bigger role. So I would be surprised if she came to sign on to this movie and she
Mhm.
doesn't get a huge, significant role in this movie, where
Yeah.
it's like the movie's basically about her. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, she's publicly said the only reason she came back was to play a superhero. So that's what she said. She said she was done with Marvel, and so I don't have a lot of respect for her from that position, because I'm like, I get that you didn't like your character, but lots of people did. So, anyways, but we'll end it there. Otherwise, I'll go on a rant for a while. I could talk about
Mhm.
Thor forever. So, but anyways, we'll see you next time on Just Visiting. Thank you very much.